Dzień dobry, witamy w podcaście WSB-NLU po godzinach. W dniu dzisiejszym moim oraz Państwa gościem jest pan profesor Edgar Galindo Cota, profesor WSB-NLU. Witam panie profesorze.
Dzień dobry.
Okay, so let's start. Can you tell us something about yourself?
Yes, I am a psychologist. I have studied in Mexico, in Poland. I have started my study on psychology in Poland many years ago. Yeah, I've studied in Germany, and I've been working in several countries as well. My field of research was, first of all, children. Yeah, I've been working with children with different difficulties in Mexico first, and then in Portugal. First of all, slum children with different problems of psychological nature or physical nature or social nature. And later in Portugal, I've been working with children with school failure problems. Yeah, that was my main field of work. But later, I was working for the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. And I've been a diplomat for 16 years, working in different countries. So I started to study also that kind of problems or topics like the contribution of psychology for diplomacy. So I've been working also in the field of intercultural difficulties, intercultural psychology, mediation, negotiation, that kind of topics, yeah. And later I began to think, well, it's possible to teach also diplomats to have skills. So like children, yeah. If children need social skills, diplomats too. But it's another kind of skills. But it is also psychology. You need skills to be a good diplomat. For instance, negotiation skills, yeah, or intercultural skills. Well, that was my field of research for many years. In the last year, after the pandemic, I began to study health psychology. So now my main point of interest is health psychology. Yeah. For instance, the relationship between cognition and the processes of health and disease. That's my field now. Yeah, and stress in the center of all these topics.
Okay, so the stress, the physiology of the title of today's podcast is the physiology of stress. And can you tell us something about how to return to balance faster? It means what is the state in which the body exhausted, yet a nervous system remains overstimulated, for example?
Well, first of all, I must explain you how it is the process of stress, yeah? Stress is a common problem. I mean, it is, we all speak about stress since many years ago. It has been considered the disease of this century, yeah? Well, stress is a very known process for us, but I am studying, I'm not the only one, we are studying the process from the point of view of psychology. How is it, yeah, from the point of view of psychology? Well, first of all, it is a reaction of our body, yeah? Cannon, a very known psychologist, has spoken about a reaction of the body that we call the fight or fly reaction, yeah? It means when we are in a difficult situation, for instance, if you find a snake in your garden, yeah? You don't in Poland, but let's take this as an example. If you find a snake in your garden, your body has a reaction. It is a reaction to fight, maybe, or to run away. Yeah. So it means that your body is prepared for the action. Yeah. If you think about all your blood goes to the hands and to the feet. Yeah, to prepare the feet for running. Yeah? Or the hands for fighting. Yeah? But you have in your body a set of physiological changes. Yeah? The heart must work harder. Yeah, your skin is very dry. Yeah, here in the mouth you feel all dry as well because all water in your body is going to the rest of the arms and the legs in order to prepare you for the action. And your heart also, in the neurochemistry of your body, you have a lot of changes. Yeah, it's all prepared for action. Yeah, your body is in a state of alarm. Yeah, well, that is a very adaptation reaction. Yeah, it's an adaptative reaction because you need it. You have to run, maybe. Yeah, well, or to fight. Well, the point is that it is a positive reaction when the snake is there. But what happens, and that is the contribution of another psychologist called Lazarus, American psychologist as well. What happens when you are sleeping in the night and suddenly you think about a snake that you have seen in the garden, yeah? Well, you have exactly the same reaction. The same psychophysiological reaction of your body. Your body is prepared for action again, but there is no snake. Yeah? So you are wasting your energy. Yeah? That is the basis of stress. Yeah? In stress, you have a psychophysiological reaction. Yeah? But in this case, not necessarily it is a good reaction. It might be a problem for you because you are using the resources of your body. Yeah, there is no snake. You are wasting your resources. Yeah. On the other hand, we must also think that stress has a good side. Yeah, even if there is no the problem, we say in psychology, the stressor. It's the factor outside your body which is producing your state of reaction. Yeah. If the stressor is not there, but you must think about it. For instance, if you have an examination, yeah, it's good that you have stress because you need to think about it. You need to prepare yourself. So stress has a good side. The good side, it is helping you to prepare yourself for a difficult situation. In this case, the cognitive preparation, the psychological side, is also helping you. Well, it's good to a certain degree, but if it goes on and you cannot sleep because of your examination, then you have extra stress, and it might be a very negative reaction.
What about our body? If we still think about the stress, how it react, how our body react on the stress?
The point is that you have the same reaction. I mean, if you have to work very hard, it's good that you feel stress because you are prepared for action. Yeah, but when you go home and you want to relax and you can't, then stress is a problem. Stress can provoke in your body a lot of diseases. It is related to heart disease, for instance, to cancer. It's related to pain. It's related to anxiety, to many different problems. Because if your body is using the resources that you have, someday you are exhausted. You cannot do more. That is what we call burnout. Yeah, you are burnt out. Well, you can, if you are in war, for instance, well, you are in burnout. You cannot do anything against it. Yeah, but if you are working normally, yeah, and you want to avoid it, usually every person has the own method to control stress. Yeah, you probably have some method. Yeah. I suppose you can go and hear music, or you go to a bar to drink a beer, or you find a friend to have a nice talk, or you go, if you have children, you go with your children to eat an ice cream, yeah? Or maybe you just go swimming or running or doing something interesting, yeah, to reduce stress. Each one of us has a way to reduce stress. Yeah. Now, when we are in such an extreme state that we have really a great amount of stress, we need extra methods. Yeah. We have to learn how to control stress. Yeah. Coping strategies. And that here comes psychology. Psychology can help us to find methods to control stress. And that is actually my point, yeah? My field of research today.
I know that some people have something like a coach paradox. It means that after work they come back home and they, for example, can lay on a couch about an hour and they try to think about nothing, but it doesn't work. They are even more nervous after that time. What should they do if they can't manage their stress? It means they don't have a time to go to swim, and they don't want to, for example, go to the gym, or they don't, for example, sing and things like that. They just all the time think about the stress they had at work, and they do it all the evening, and even at night they can wake up and think about the stress.
Well, you can learn different methods to cope with your own stress. Yeah, we have been working already since many years ago, in research about which are the best methods to control stress. Yeah, we have found, for instance, that those methods that are used since many centuries ago in India, for instance, yeah, to relax, are very good in psychology as well. Yeah, mindfulness, for instance, yeah, mindfulness is a very old method used by Indian people since many centuries ago. They have found, these people in India, through the exercise during centuries of a set of exercises, they have found the way of controlling your body functions. Not only your muscles, you can relax very quickly, but you can also learn how to control your heart. Yeah, how? Well, we don't know exactly how they do. Yeah, but we know that if we have good engines connected to your heart, and you can observe the movements of your heart, you can learn to control it. That's what we call biofeedback. Yeah, through biofeedback, you can learn to control the movements of your heart, and not only, also your stomach, also your brain. The working of your brain, you can learn to control the working of your brain, of your heart, of your stomach. These people in India, during centuries of exercises, they have learned to do it as well. They can do it. Yoga exercises, mindfulness, that is all, yeah? So, you can learn that kind of exercises to control your stress, yeah? You can do it alone, maybe going to a group, or a psychologist can teach you that, yeah? We have also respiration exercises, relaxation exercises. And then we have what we call cognitive control, yeah? Our thinking controls our behavior. If you can't control your thinking, you can't control your body. If you go sleep and you are thinking about what you are going to do next week, it means that your thinking is controlling your body. So we can teach you to control that thinking in order to bring your body to peace. Yeah, that's cognitive control, for instance. Yeah, we have in Portugal, together with some German colleagues, we have developed a method, a mixed method to teach people to control their own stress. Yeah, especially for people with high levels of stress. Yeah, myself, I've been working with nurses. After pandemic, we know that nurses are extremely stressed in the work, yeah? So we have developed a method to teach nurses to control stress, yeah? Not me, but some colleagues in Germany, in Leipzig in Germany.
Okay, Professor, can back pain, stomach problem, or jaw clenching be sign that the nervous system is asking for help?
Yes, of course. Well, you tell me the nervous system is asking for help. Actually, your body is asking for help. Yeah, we all have a limit. If you work a lot, we have a lot of stress. Usually, you can attain a limit. Yeah, we cannot do more. In such a situation, our body tells us something is not wrong. Yeah, and what is the way? We feel pains, and we are prone to different diseases. For instance, a cold. You have very often colds. Yeah, or we have usually old people have a lot of problems at the same time. For instance, sleeping problems, pains in the body, infections as well. Yeah, but it might be necessary to say that the point is, if you can find out before that process of diseases starts, a way to recognize that your body is going to collapse. Yeah, that's what we do very often in our workshops for stress control. Yeah, usually a normal person knows when it is enough. Yeah, I have enough. I need holidays, for instance. I have enough. I must go home. I have enough. I must get out of this situation for some hours. Yeah, but sometimes you don't do it, or you cannot do it. Yeah,
I have some colleagues or friends who has a migraine, mainly women. And when I talk about this problem, the migraine is usually after a few days of stress. It means that they feel good because they know that they have to do this. And it's after a few days, if they know that the next day is okay because they don't have, for example, they have to do something, and after the next day is it's like day off or something like that. And this day they have a migraine. It's like a reaction of...
Of course. Your body is reacting. You have your body has the own way to react to stress. Everyone is different. Everyone is different because the bodies are different. So the point is, can we learn to recognize the moment in which we are attaining a bad state? In such a case, can we avoid the starting of a disease, in your case, the headache, in the case of your people that you said, yeah? Yes, we can. And what we do is to teach people how to recognize that signals. Our body is sending us signals. Hey, be careful, yeah? So you must learn to recognize that moment, yeah? And to take it seriously. It's serious, yeah?
Yes, it is. So do you have like a golden tip for us, for our students, how to avoid stress or how to fight with this chronic stress?
Avoiding stress is impossible. What you can do is to learn to cope with stress. In such a case, first of all, find very carefully what is the best way for you. Running, swimming, hearing music, going to a bar to drink a beer, find what is the best way for you, yeah? But you must have more than one method. The best is to have 3 or 5 different ways to cope with stress, yeah? Secondly, learn to recognize the signals of your body, yeah? If you spend one night without sleeping, be careful. That's enough. Don't wait for 2 more nights. Start immediately to cope with stress, yeah? Next, if you cannot control stress with your own methods, then go to a psychologist to learn different methods, yeah? Or maybe you go to a group to learn mindfulness or yoga.
Okay, so thank you, Professor, for sharing your knowledge and insight with us today.
Ja też bardzo dziękuję.